is one of those, I hate to say that I told you so moments, but actually I don't hate to say it, because we took a lot of heat in 2020. The people that decided that they wanted to hold off on not getting vaccines, the people that questioned the vaccines, the people that questioned a lot with COVID, where it came from, the origin, and a lot of these things that we were censored for, that we lost friends for, a lot of these things are now coming out in a different light. And a lot of the views that we had on it are proven now to be true. So let's take a look at this. You guys tell me what your thoughts are, and we'll go through it. Robbie, where you at, baby?
Good morning and welcome to Rising. We've got another great show for you today as the week continues. We're halfway through it,
It's
I
hump day.
think. How about that?
Things are going well.
Great. Nice to see you, Linda.
Nice to see you too, Robbie.
and watch the
What's on your
lean up.
radar?
Happy to tell you. Let's get right to it. So, viewers, do you remember a woman named Deborah Birx, the lady with the colorful scarves who appeared at all those early press conferences during COVID-19? Birx was, along with Dr. Anthony Fauci, one of the main advisors to President Donald Trump and then, of course, President Joe Biden on all matters involving COVID. She was one of the foremost public health authorities crafting the government's response to the pandemic, including social distancing, masking requirements, and the promotion of vaccines. Now, I have long criticized Fauci and Birx for being all too ready to jettison civil liberties and ignore legitimate disagreement among experts about the right way to combat COVID. Some experts, for instance, initially downplayed immunity acquired from infection in their haste to promote mass vaccination for all persons regardless of their individual health statuses. Fauci subsequently admitted that he made up the guidance on 6 feet of social distancing, and other policies like mask mandates and vaccine mandates are now routinely questioned, as they should be, as having not actually done very much to fight COVID. Now, while the vaccines did a good job of reducing severe illness and death for the most at-risk population, the elderly, the obese, and the immunocompromised, they did not end up offering broad protection against infection. But that's how they were sold to the public. Joe Biden declared COVID to be a pandemic of the unvaccinated and explicitly said we wouldn't have cases of COVID if the vaccine hesitant would just stop clinging to misinformation and get the jab. He was wrong, as were other government health advocates. You can get as many COVID jabs as you want, because we all know it's not going to stop you from contracting COVID. So I was fascinated to hear Deborah Birx finally admit, at long last, exactly this. Here she was on Piers Morgan's show recently.
And what we've done wrong in public health is we didn't explain that COVID vaccines were nothing like the childhood vaccines, and that the childhood vaccines, like many of the diseases, you get it once, you don't get it again. And this is getting the children to have that disease without getting the deadly consequences. That is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed to prevent against infection. And if you look at the vaccine hesitancy rates, they've doubled since.
Hold on. Hold on. What? Yeah. Like, are y'all listening to this? Yeah. Are y'all listening to this? Conspiracy theorists up 40. And the politicians and the experts, 0. Negative. Are y'all listening to what she's saying? They played around with our health. They played around with our life. And what's so funny is a lot of the Democrats were actually saying this initially. A lot of the Democrats and the liberals were actually saying this initially. They were actually the ones that were opposed to the vaccine. But what happened was Trump was in office and he was trying to get a vaccine done quickly, right? And a lot of the Democrats, look, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. It's too soon. It's too fast to know if it's safe or not. And then as soon as Joe Biden became president, I think the next day the vaccine was released and things just switched like that. And the Democrats went into full big pharma sales mode. They went into full big pharma sales mode and tried to push these things, tried to villainize people that didn't want to get it, tried to make it seem as if you're being selfish, you're not looking out for the rest of the American people, all these different things. They completely changed their tune. They mandated it in certain states, in New York, and obviously they had to pay back a lot of those people that lost their jobs because they did not want to take the vaccine. But listen to what this lady is saying. These are the lies that they told. They pushed people to take these things. And in all actuality, they put your health at risk. Because anytime you insert something into your body, there's going to be maybe some pros, but there's going to be some cons, some things that maybe some side effects. And a lot of people that I remember a couple doctors, I had some friends that were pregnant and some lost their babies because of it. Allegedly, that's what they were saying. And when they went to the doctor's office, the first thing that the doctor asked them, because they were suffering from like some blood clots and stuff like that. And the first thing that the doctor asked was, well, did you get the vaccine? Now, I know for all the people that want to defend the vaccine by any means necessary, they'll say, well, how do you know that that was caused? We don't. The same way that they didn't know that it was supposed to stop the spread because they never tested for it when Pfizer was in court saying and admitting that we never tested it for if it would actually, prevent the spread. Here, listen to what this lady's saying. She's saying it was never meant to be like other vaccines. It was never meant to be. Isn't this what RFK Jr. has been calling out from the jump? Isn't this what he's been questioning? Matter of fact, not only the fact that it was never supposed to operate like regular vaccines, but the fact that it was never tested. They never used placebo test like a lot of the other drugs that are tested. Let's keep going.
That is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed to prevent against infection. And if you look at the vaccine hesitancy rates, they've doubled since COVID. So we have to start addressing these things. We can't just ignore them.
And Deborah, let me ask you, Deborah, I mean, given that you were the face of COVID from the Trump presidency at the time, do you share this doctor who I was with, do you share the concerns about the longer term negative impact of some of the COVID vaccines?
The messenger RNA vaccine should have been rolled out for the people that were at risk for severe disease because
it should have been rolled out for the people that were at risk for severe disease. Why were they trying to sell it to everybody, kids included? And this is why people question a lot of the vaccines that children take when they're born. This is why. But then people will say RFK Jr. is an anti-vaxxer. Like, even if RFK Jr. was an anti-vaxxer, do you not have any understanding of why, if he was, he would be like, why would that even be? Are y'all not? I don't know.
That's what the vaccine was developed for.
And here's a little bit more of that interview. Keep watching.
But when we say that we're following the science and the data, we need to follow the science and the data. And the science and the data said people primarily over 65 or people with significant comorbidities were at risk for severe disease. Those are the individuals that should have been immunized first. And we should have put our science behind our immunization schedule and protected those most at risk. It went into young people in hospitals before it went into our elderly in nursing homes. That is not following the science and the data.
They're trying to sell you stuff. This is just a sales play. Man, we are a gullible group of people. And what is Jasmine Crockett doing when she's talking about Ebola? They are prepping us to do the same exact thing and will probably fall for it again.
I am all for following the science and the data, but it shouldn't just be a statement. It should be a reality.
Hey, Lana.
Excuse me while I pick my jaw up off the floor. This is incredible, truly incredible.
Yeah.
So I am all for risk. It went into young people in hospitals before it went into our elderly in nursing homes. That is not following the science and the data. So I am all for following the science and the data, but it shouldn't just be a statement. It should be a reality.
Excuse me while I pick my jaw up off the floor. This is incredible, truly incredible. Now even Deborah Birx, who along with Fauci.
Sounds like we're starting to learn why maybe Biden decided to pardon y'all boy Fauci.
She was the highest profile purveyor of the mainstream elite consensus on COVID. She now thinks that our government, the government she was in charge of advising at the most foundational level, did not follow the science in terms of the vaccine rollout. This admission forces us to imagine a world in which the government listened to the Deborah Birx of 2025 versus the Deborah Birx of 2020. Maybe then.
All right, let's take a step back and understand, like, this is why. And a lot of people will say, well, it's just a vaccine. You know, if I didn't die from it, you know, it's not that big of a deal. With this, it's almost like it was a test to see how many people they can encourage to take something and insert something into their body with no extensive studies, no placebo studies like a lot of other medicines that we take, vaccines, cures, whatever you want to call them. It was a test to show how gullible people will be, a test to show how much they can control people with fear mongering. This, to me, is what this is. So if they could, if Biden and Kamala Harris, as Mark Zuckerberg and his Meta platforms have come out and exposed that administration for silencing the voices of people that said exactly, if you said exactly what Deborah said, think about this. If you said exactly what Deborah Birx just said in this interview, if you said it in 2020, you were censored on Meta platforms. You were villainized in your friend group, in the community. You were looked at selfish. You couldn't go to work. You couldn't go to restaurants. If you said what she just said, you were seen as a conspiracy theorist. This is the lady who was advising our government, along with Anthony Fauci, on how we should proceed with vaccines during one of the most traumatizing times of our lives. People were losing it. This was one of the people, and now the things that and this is why, and you just have to wonder why it seems like, oh, well, why are conspiracy theorists, why does it seem like their record of being right is improving and improving as we go along? And it's because they identify certain people as conspiracy theorists. They identify certain things as conspiracy theories that should never be even falling into that category, because what do? Oh, they just put, oh, that's conspiracy theories. And then it comes out, but by the time it comes out, people already took the shot. No worries. We'll fear them with we'll use some other type of fear mongering to get them to believe in the next one. It's crazy. It's crazy. And imagine the control that they'll have on people moving forward.
The government would have worked to swiftly deploy vaccines to the elderly and the immunocompromised, while acknowledging that young people and those who had already contracted the disease were not at significant risk and could return to life, work, and school.
Think about the kids that missed, 1 or 2 years of school? Think about the development. How much a lot of these kids, it hindered their development. Because like I said, it's easy for a lot of older people to sit back and say, oh, well, it was just, just kind of got a year to just take off and relax, read books at the house, watch TV, no big deal. I didn't have to go into work. Think about the children who were significantly set back during the most impressionable times and important times when it comes to their development, how much it was hindered because of these lies, because of the fear mongering that was created, because of all these different things that these so-called experts put out there. We bought into it. We allowed the politicians to sell us on it because the people that are lining their pockets told them to. We allowed all this. We continue to allow people that we place on a pedestal to put our health in danger, our children's development in danger, and we see it across the board. But then we wonder why a lot of these woke ideologies and these things that are being pushed right now in our country culturally, we wonder why they're being pushed, or we don't question how much of an evil and ill intent they have because, oh, it's our government. Our government's not really going to do this. These are doctors. I don't know. I don't know. Let's move on. Let's stick with politics for a little bit. We're going to move on to this Dr. Umar conversation. Yeah. Eb said she ain't falling for it. It's bad. It's bad. Let me catch up with a couple of these comments. Hold on. So Eb wrote, I paid attention to international studies, what the virus was and the effectiveness of the vaccine, and chose not to vaccinate. My whole family was mad and talking shit. Now I'm right. That's a fact, Eb. And this is why it has to be said. And people need to, and the rest of the family need to acknowledge, but this is what never happens. The family members and your friends never come up to you and say like, yo, you were right. Like what made you think this, or what made you question this? Like nobody ever asked. Nobody will ever give you that acknowledgement. They'll shun you when you're actually doing it. But then when it comes out that you're right, nobody will ever double back and say, actually, you were right. You were right. We'll celebrate these experts on TV, but never celebrate the people in our family that's just did their own research. Lana wrote, good morning, sunshines. Ed wrote, I ain't falling for it. Definitely not. Shout out to my brother Skeeg in the building. Aisheba said it's a chip in it. A lot of people saying they putting chips in y'all bodies. They trying to own your DNA. I wouldn't dispute that. I wouldn't dispute it. You just hit it. The population are nothing but lab rats. To those in power, the test is to see what they can get away with. Nonsense is the play that keeps people easily under control. Uncle brother, I'm with you on it. Big facts, Eb from Amp. I did not take it for me. I did not take it for me to be right. So I don't need anyone to double back. No, you're missing the point. And it's not about doubling back. It's about acknowledgement. They should want to double back. We're living in a society where people do not acknowledge when they're wrong. When you do not acknowledge certain shortcomings, when you do not acknowledge when you're wrong, it's going to put you in a position where you're likely to be getting taken advantage of. And I don't know about you. Aunt doesn't need you to double back. Nah, I need people to double back. That's what should be done. When you're wrong about something, you should acknowledge something. When you talk ish about somebody, when you try to villainize somebody in your family, then you should come back to that person and admit that, hey, these things and how I was looking at you was wrong. Aunt, I just need to keep living. All right, Aunt. You and your friends with benefits. We'll see you on Sunday. They're still getting boosted. Shaking my head. This is why they need to double back, Ed. Because when people don't acknowledge certain things, they're going to continue doing the same behavior. And their kids and the people that they have influence over are going to continue doing the same things and putting people at risk and establishing certain things. Nah, man. People got to acknowledge when they're wrong, bro. I'm with it. Aunt, you high road. Man. All right. Let's move on to this Dr. Umar video. You guys give me your thoughts. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.